And let me catch up on these hydrates. So how many freaking hydrates did I get? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my god. All right, well, you want to take over casting duties while I drown myself?
Well, Riley is meeting her match with Kyogre, drowning her, I suppose. We're getting underway here with Primal Kyogre, or Primal Groudon, goodness, versus Blastoise in the finals here, and I'm really excited about this match. It's a very interesting one, because if the Groudon player opens Wobbuffet, they can definitely stall the Blastoise player a bit until they can set up their own Primal Groudon and then just start swinging. However, we unfortunately see that the Groudon player has not opened the Wobbuffet. But Lee, for the 4th game in a row now, I think, has opened something he would rather not. We're on 5 now, 6. We're still
on
going
7.
Okay. All right. So we see a Karina come down here, having a Groudon and a Switch. Now I'm interested to see why they're going with the Switch here over some other cards that they could be grabbing. In this matchup, I feel like Focus Band can be particularly important, or Focus Sash can be particularly important, just in case they somehow rip off a crazy turn where they're able to bring up the Groudon that you're powering up to KO. I did not see the 2 Robo-Subs in hand, so now the Switch makes a lot more sense. Riley, welcome back from the land of Hoenn.
Song requests. I can't do song requests on these streams because the VOD grabs the audio so we can hear Nick on the YouTube videos. So I'll have to owe you a song request on the next stream. I think that was Lila. I will have to owe you a song request in the next one. But hey, the Articuno's not prized. Oh god, did Prime get one too? All right. High breaching, baby. No.
Actually, I think Groudon's one of the few Pokemon in this format that can one-hit KO
That's true.
a Wailord.
That is true. Put on a sticky note, don't forget, I'll try.
The amount of cards we see Lee going through here, I have to believe that they're going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, sorry, Lila. Oh, thank you. I'm now getting the Volcanion wasn't in 2015 in the Discord server. So thank you, Vinny. Thank you, people. Appreciate y'all.
Here we go. The turn 1 Archie
I love my
face in the hole for the first
I love
time.
my chat. I love my chat. They're drowning me. They're harassing me with Volcanion. I love my chat. This is the perfect example, though, of what you're missing out if you are watching on YouTube and not on Twitch. This is what you're missing out, folks. Come make me drink lots of water and have to pee 3 times in the middle of this finals match. Make streamer girl drink. Come watch on Twitch. What's up? Oh my god. What is up, Josh? My boy Squeaky in chat. Hippowdon, yes. No, there was no Hippowdon. Hi. Oh,
I was
god,
very sad, Josh,
Ollie.
that there's no Hippowdon. I was rooting for it.
This was full a minute ago, for the record.
Oh no.
I am very hydrated.
Definitely a very heads-up play, once again from Lee, using the Sky Return to take out that Robo-Sub. Just getting an easy prize off the board, and really not finding yourself at any sort of disadvantage. Yeah, here comes the Wobbuffet that we've been talking about.
Is it Taya? I think is your name. Yeah, no, Beach was not legal in this format. It was not legal here, so we did not have access to Tropical Beach, which would have been great with this hand for Gabe, which is not the best. Although I will say at least the benefit here is that if you have one more turn without a Gust effect, you can evolve into that Groudon, and then this Wobbuffet can never leave the active because you cannot Lysander around it as long as there are 2 Primal Groudons on the bench. So while it's a horrible situation to be in, you might be able to buy enough time with this Wobbuffet if we can dodge a Lysander on this turn that you might be able to claw back into the game. you know, draw out of this poor hand. Oh, hey, Volcanion wasn't in 2015. That's great. Thank you so much for reminding me, Amelia. I appreciate it. Oh my God, Vinny. I'm going to be seeing this in my nightmares.
Oh, yeah, this Wobbuffet is going to be stuck in the active now.
But I actually think that bench of the Robosub was a mistake because you can Lysander up the Robo-Substitute to get around Wobbuffet. So I actually think that was a misplay from Gabe there. It's very easy to just think like, oh, I'll just slam down this Robo-Substitute. But it could be detrimental. Of course, this Keldeo can now just come in and Secret Sword for the KO with the third energy attached, but no. And there's the Juniper off the top.
This is
talking about the Sky Return.
This is just the power of Wobbuffet right here.
Right.
I mean, what seemed like a pretty heads-up play has now just completely gone off the rails here. We see a Mega Turbo. Energies are getting spread out here. And the Blast... And Lee's going to have to deal with 2 Primal Groudon this game, more than likely.
Which is terrifying.
Two's a lot for any deck to deal with. 1's a lot for any deck to deal with, as we saw with the Seismitoad game earlier in the stream.
The benefit, though, with Archiestoise is, of course, that you have such a high damage ceiling. And yeah, I mean, I agree with what Squeaky's saying here. The Groudon, it's just too far. You're so far behind. You can't give Groudon this much time to get set up. And the fact that you're able to potentially get 2 Groudons attacking, you know, there's energy on both these Groudons. It's not like they're just sitting there with no energy waiting for their turn, but we have not 1, but 2 Groudon. Yes, 2, Vinny. 2!
And we have to remember, too, you know, we're seeing on this deck search right here, there's another Mega Turbo in there. So it's very easy to get this second one powered up just out of nowhere if somehow Keldeo gets 10 energy on it to get the KO.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Wobbuffet has the Bide Barricade ability. So as long as it's in the active position, Pokemon can and play the discard pile in the hand do not have any abilities except for psychic Pokemon. So it's turning off that Deluge. Blastoise cannot use Deluge currently, which is the most important part. You also, you know, the Keldeo cannot use Russian, so it just turns off all his abilities. The Executes can't use Propagate. So the entire crux of this Archiestoise deck is just completely turned off by Wobbuffet. And I was actually talking about this earlier with Vaughn, who was asking me what the play was for this event, and I actually said Donphan with 2 Wobbuffet because of this matchup. Because you could play the Wobbuffet to, you know, to stall this Archiestoise deck. I was like, Wobbuffet is definitely going to be like the card to include because of this matchup specifically. And you're seeing how impactful it is here. I mean, how much time it has bought Gabe being able to set up this incredibly terrifying board. I mean, we can start attaching the Hard Charm and we're working on the second Groudon on the bench. That's terrifying.
And we see there's a Silent Lab in hand. There's the Hard Charm to make Lee's water Pokemon need even more energy to take knockouts. There's a Float Stone for if Gabe decides, you know, want to retreat the Wobbuffet and just start going in with a Groudon. There's so many options in the Groudon player's hand right now.
So Picky, and this is I want to answer this for YouTube as well, because this is great. If you're ever interested in getting into retro Pokemon, I know a lot of people have been seeing that the World Championship decks for, shut up Prime, for the, if you're looking to get into it, yeah, for 2022 with the new London World Championship decks. But I would say the World Championship decks from the last couple of years are very cheap to build. They're very easy to buy. You know, they're pre-packaged decks. They come with the full 60. They come with a little booklet that tells you about how the deck plays. And they're like the full deck ready to go. And they retail for about $13 usually. Some of the older ones are a little bit more because they're not, you know, circulating anymore. So they might be closer to 30 or so. But they're very, very reasonably affordable. And you can get stuff like 2019 Worlds decks are cheap. You can get like the Mewtwo, like all the tag team decks and stuff. The Buzzwole decks from 2018 And then these decks from 2015, I think both of these decks were actually featured in the World Championship. It might be slightly different lists, but Groudon and Archiestoise are both decks from the 2015 World Championship deck box, or the decks printing run. So you can actually play these decks for pretty affordable. I think probably under 50 for the two of them, I'd have to say, or close to that for the two of them. So that's a great place to start, I would say. And then for real cards too, yeah, 2014.
Yeah, there's a ton of cheaper decks that you can do, as far as like the playing with real cards. I mean, Riley and I, we both like playing with real cards, but that's like we like sinking our money into that.
Yes, we like being broke.
But if you're interested in just like building some decks of your own, you can keep an eye on eBay. A lot of times you'll find like random lots with Worlds cards in them that you can pick up. You can pick up some more expensive cards as World cards, and really just
yeah,
do
right.
whatever
Imagine
you
having
can.
money.
Right.
Well, and that's so that's what I was. We'll come to that point in a second, Darth Bean. Just to finish the point on the retro stuff though, and I think you're probably in my Discord server, Picky. But if you aren't, you can join into my Discord server. You can like people like myself, myself and other people in my server can help you. Like I have a ton of extra cards, so we can definitely help you out. I have a bunch of cards that I can throw your way that are cheap. Like I can help you build stuff, so we can get there. And then for Groudon, waiting for that Lysander to take out a Keldeo, because there's really no threat from Blastoise right now. Although the Tri-Edge is coming through with a little bit, so we will take 2 prizes with Tri-Edge.
Yeah, but if it's the Groudon player, what you really
Natalie, what are you talking about? Using with Lost Box? I don't play Lost Box. What are you talking about? I haven't played Pokemon today. What?
So what we're
YouTube, ignore.
Player,
I'm getting gaslit.
Groudon player is maybe just trying to keep uneven prizes, I feel like.
What? What are you talking about? Oh, with Gengar. Oh my god, because I was playing... Natalie and I played 2011, and I played Loscar, and I think I won like 2 or 3. We only played like 2 or 3, and I won all of them with Loscar. That deck's so fun. Okay. Yes, I'm like... I was wondering what the heck you were talking about. But yes, let's go back into this game. So Vinny makes a good point with the waiting for the Focus Sash. So as soon as you remove that Wobbuffet from play, the threat of something like this Mewtwo with X-Ball or a massive Keldeo comes into play, where you can just pile all your energy onto your big attackers with the Deluge, since that Wobbuffet is no longer in the active. But this Focus Sash makes it so that even if you somehow get up to 240 damage, it's an absurd amount of energy that you need, but now even that option is taken away because of that Focus Sash, as there are no ways to deny that tool card from this Groudon, and we still are going to have at least these 2 Groudons going into the following turn for Gabe. So this is a great position to be in. You're guaranteed to take 2 more prizes with the active Primal Groudon if you want to. And based on my limited knowledge, this could be a turnaround for the Keldeo. So because of that Focus Sash, though, this denies this Groudon from getting KO'd. So there's no way to to go through this Groudon. You're going to have to give up 2 prizes. That Keldeo or whatever your attacker you're attacking with is going to get KO'd, as long as Gabe can find a Stadium card, which we don't immediately have.
Right.
And the X-Ball does some good chunk damage, though.
I think, though, what is going to potentially be, or could have been an issue if a lot more energy hit the board, is that the Groudon player is on odd prizes. And for folks who might not know, you want to try to be on even prizes in these 2 prize formats, because then your opponent cannot force you to have to take the 7th prize card, which basically means they'll sit behind an EX and say, okay, I gave you this 1 prizer early on. Now you got to get through 3 of my EXs, which is 1 prize extra that you're not otherwise needing to take.
Wow, this is a very funny thing we just saw here. The hard charm on the Robo Sub. So now Sky Return to take out that Robo Sub, which has been a favorite move of Lee's, is no longer picking up the KO on that Robo Sub, which is hysterical.
Shrine of Memory's coming in with whatever Primal Groudon's regular Groudon's second attack is, which I'm pulling up now.
Something
Massive
Rend.
Rend.
Massive Rend. Oh my god.
For 130 damage with 2 strong energy, he's going to be able to take out that Mewtwo.
Oh, hey, Braden, what's up? Wow, I didn't realize you were... I didn't realize you were on Twitch, dude. What's up? At least, I think I think that's the... I don't know which Braden this is, to be fair. This might be the one I met in Salt Lake. If it's not, then what's up, Braden? I'm Braden. Riley... Yo, Prime? Riley Rend? Hey girl, wanna see my... Natalie, stop. Oh my god. You're better, Brayden? Okay, cool. I don't know what that means, but hell yeah. Okay, so back on this game. So the Secret Sword will pick up the KO here. We still have this other Groudon chilling on the bench that has effectively 260 damage, HP that it has to be dealt because of that hard charm. Better Brayden, aka Solid Noob. So
yeah, I think
yes.
So I think here we'll probably just see the KO picked up with the Gaia Volcano discarding the stadium. We'll see an N more than likely played. Prior to taking that KO, you put Lee down to 2 prize cards, force him into needing a lot to deal with this Groudon.
Well, but here's the problem with that, though. There's 6 energy on the bench, Keldeo.
Right. I mean, you have to, I think you have to end here, though.
Right. No, you absolutely do. I mean, you get the KO.
There's too many cards.
And you just say, okay, have it here, or you just don't. You know, either you have it or I win. So... especially with this Juniper for the follow-up once you discard the stadium. So all Gabe would need is to hit that stadium off the Juniper. And I mean, we could see a massive Keldeo. How many energy do you need to take this KO, right? It's 50 plus 20 for each.
So Lee can't take this KO, actually. Groudon needs to be hit for 260 damage to take the knockout. Lee plays 11 energy. He maxes out at 270 damage, minus
which
the
is
20 from the heart.
Wow.
No, that is enough. So he needs every energy. He needs every single energy in play in order to take this knockout.
If this happens, this is absolutely insane. I mean, the Superior gets 4 back, though. I mean...
Okay.
We're only missing 1. Could we see...
Here.
Oh my god, this would be the biggest Keldeo attack I think we have ever seen. 10. What's the last
Needs
card?
One more.
Via Seeker.
Or Juniper. Okay.
So I don't know where the last energy is. It has to either be in deck or discard pile. I don't think we've seen if it's in the prizes or not. Do we hit... Is it the attachment or the Superior? The Ultra Ball is the start.
Okay. Probably just seeing what's in deck.
There's a Shaman.
For 3.
Okay. There it is! Oh my god. The absolutely insane one-shot a Primal Groudon with Secret Sword. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Wow. I'm so glad we got to see this and put this on YouTube. That is amazing. Shaman for the win. Let's go, Shabe. We saw the intricacies of this matchup in the middle stages where you need to, wait till you either get that Focus Sash down, the Hard Charm. I mean, I think it's kind of a ridiculous, a ridiculous thing to say. Like, you have to have all 11 energy on a Keldeo. You know, that's not going to happen, until the end of the game. But, you have to get that Focus Sash down. You have to get two Kyogre, 2 Groudons set up to, to survive after a Keldeo swing like that. So, We will get to go into this Wobbuffet, though, on the first turn, which is fantastic.
Right.
Shay, they, min. Let's go, Lay. Love that.
So we get the Wobbuffet in the active, but at what cost, right? Because now there's this float stone on this Groudon that you're never getting rid of.
That Landorus should be down. Thanks for the bond, Gabriel.
That's funny.
The Landorus stays in play.
Do you
Yeah, but
wonder
that's a great
what
point,
the Landorus
though.
is in there for?
I've seen it in some I've seen it in some Groudon decks. I forget if there was a specific thing it was for. Maybe like Night March. It's probably pretty good against Night March.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it right there, because it resists lightning. It's you know, a fighting type that's weak to water, and they can take out like 2 Joltics or something. Seems pretty solid there. But yeah, like you were saying, going back to that point of, well, now you've got a Groudon with this float zone attached to it, and that is probably the worst tool out of all of your tools. That is not the one you want to have on it. The N coming through,
He doesn't have much going on.
Yeah, attached and then N, so there's no Archie, and the attachment of the Shaman is not where you want to be. I guess the only saving grace here for Lee, though, is like, even if you just pass this turn with just the Shaman and an energy on it, it's actually, well, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it is very, very hard for this Groudon. Actually, no, it is impossible, right? Because you can't Mega Turbo without Mega Evolving.
Right.
So it is actually impossible for the Shaman to get donked here. So obviously you don't want to be in this position if you're Lee, but you don't just immediately lose the game, which is nice.
We see the computer search here for the Karina, which is really great because Lee's not doing much right now. So this is the perfect turn to just slap an energy down and primal reversion into that Groudon.
Thanks for stopping by, Prime, though. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Yeah, and this is, you know, again, the detriment, but also the benefit of this Groudon deck really is that it is such a slow, grindy deck. You need to take time to get your Pokemon set up. I know, Prime, but thanks for the reminder. I appreciate it.
This very much puts Lee on a clock. You either find another Pokemon, or this Groudon's about to come in and feast on this Shaman.
We would still need to find a way to move this Wobbuffet. Was there a fighting energy in the discard pile to activate that Mega Turbo in hand, though?
I think there is. I can't imagine that they would have grabbed that if there wasn't.
Right.
We do find there is an Ultra Ball off the trainer's mail there, so maybe something can happen. Keldeo comes down with a water energy, so Lee's not out of this one yet.
And ditching 2 trainer's mail, so we must have the Archie on the way here. But of course you can't use that Deluge because there is a Wobbuffet in the active. And goes for the Mewtwo. It's pretty solid attack turbo. You saw that used to great effect in the last game to set up a 2-shot on that first Groudon. And there's the Archie's ace in the hole. So we do get the Blastoise, but no Deluge, of course, because you don't have that ability.
Right, and this is where it kind of gets scary as the Groudon player, right? Like you have this play where you can just go in right away with this Groudon, but you don't really have anything to follow up with if it gets knocked out. Hard Charm's going to come down on the Wobbuffet, so that'll certainly stop the Secret Sword. And we do see Gabe doing a pretty heads-up play there, not putting down the Robo-Sub, knowing that it can be Lysandered, knowing that if that comes into the active, you have full access to all your abilities.
And that was what I mentioned that last game, because Gabe kind of slammed that down. Wait, who made a prediction? Who's running a channel prediction right now? Who's doing this? Oh god. But yes, it's a very heads-up play to, you know, prevent that Lysander target. You know, obviously bringing up a Robo Substitute, You wouldn't take any prizes by KOing it, but you get all of your abilities back because Wobbuffet has to be in the active for that Bide Barricade. So a very heads-up play. I'm not putting it down this time, as you mentioned.
Now
Vinny.
So we'll see a Karina here. I think this play is great. You know, you start setting up second Groudon. There's the Professor's Letter in hand to grab another 2 fighting energy. You have a Focus Sash in hand to protect this Groudon. I think the only thing you risk is the Lysander coming down and pulling it up before it can Primal Revert into the Primal Groudon. And you also have the issue of this other Primal Groudon has the Floatstone on it, and there's no way that's going away. So you don't have the hard charm play like you have last game where you say, look, you either have all these energy or you don't.
Right, and you're looking at the board and you're like, okay, well, these tools are kind of all misplaced. Like, you want the Floatstone on the Wob, the Hard Charm on the Bench Groudon, the Focus Sash on the Primal. Like, they're all just in the wrong spot. Also, Vinny, random, but, like, yeah, we should definitely be doing channel... I completely forgot that the, whatever they're called, the, predictions are a thing. So, you should just run those whenever we have games, honestly. I forgot that was a thing you could do.
So Karina getting the switch now, so that won't be an issue. There's already a stadium in play, so next turn a Gaia Volcano can just knock out whatever it wants. But
and there was the Lysander was missed from Lee here, so we did at least get that second Primal Groudon down.
Yeah, and I think the issue we're going to run into again is we're going to see a prize race here where I don't know if I think Primal Groudon can do enough, because you're running the risk right now. There's a Mewtwo in play, there's a Keldeo in play. The Keldeo or the Mewtwo or really anything Lee has can just take back-to-back knockouts with the right combination of cards here.
Yeah, we even see this pressure, and I like this aggressive chasing down of the Mewtwo, and it's something that, you know, I mentioned this before about Archie being able to get back a water Pokemon, but that Mewtwo is now gone for the game. That's one less, you know, good threat that Lee has access to. Of course, we still have the Keldeo, and we now have abilities active. And of course, we did go in with this Floatstoned Groudon, so this Groudon only has the 240. This could very easily go down this turn.
It's so funny to think, though, right? Like, 240, that's not that much HP. This Keldeo could definitely hit that number.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, you're like, well, yeah, I could definitely reach that. But that is an absurd amount of energy still. I think it's still 10 energy, right? It's all but one of your energies instead of all of them.
Right. And I would really like to see Lee maybe find the town map here so you know kind of what you're working with before you just start blowing through your deck to get the cards, because if the 11th energy is prize, you really want to guarantee that you can find that immediately. And we actually see him splitting the energy here, so maybe just looking for the 2-shot on this.
Which I think makes a lot of sense, but it's a little bit scary because your opponent does only have 4 prizes left. Der Schwartz Shokamon, thank you for the follow. I'm sure I butchered that, but thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. Does Blastoise play tool removal card? Well, no, but it also can't be used unless it was a Megaphone. It couldn't be used against the Groudon anyway. But no, there is no tool removal in this Blastoise deck, so those tools are sticking. That Focus Sash is sticking. Oh my god, Vinny. Don't make me take away your sword. Current poll for those watching on YouTube is, was Volcanion in 2015? Go ahead and hop in on, get your guesses in on that one. Predict on that one, folks. What are the options, though? What are the choices? Okay, but see... What if Vinny pulls a 1-2 switch? See, someone bet Volcanion was in 2015. I think that's the move. That's the secret move, though. Oh, God. The chat, this is what happens when we stream for 5 hours. Chat just degenerates into Volcanion in 2015 memes.
So we're gonna see the Lysander here, probably on the Shaman. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Gaia Volcano going down to 2 prizes here. So
And
things
this
are
is
starting
great,
to
that
look
retreat.
right. The free retreat actually coming into play here. Who would have thought? This is actually starting to look sketchy if you're the Blastoise player. You just gave them so much time.
Well, and the problem here is that now, because you've switched into and you get to keep both of your Groudons preserved, even, I mean, you can't Lysander the Groudon on the bench. We mentioned, of course, that ancient trait preventing the Lysander from working on it. So you can't take out this active Groudon because of the Focus Sash, but you can't Lysander up the bench one. So no matter what happens at the end of this turn, there will be 2 Groudons that still have 4 energy attached to them. So, you know, these Groudons are coming in and swinging for a guaranteed prize on the following turn. Pretty much no matter what, on anything, really. You need a Stadium to take a prize on the Keldeos currently, but, I mean, where do you go from here if you're Lee? Also, Golden Gumi, thank you for the follow. And yes, Volcanion, not in 2015, was the winner of the poll.
I definitely think here that Gabe has pretty much checkmate set up on board. I don't know what you can do if you're Lee to try to stave this off at this point, because you're more than likely leaving a 2-prizer in the active, and you know there's still, I believe, 3 stadiums in Gabe's deck here. So even with an N, it might not be enough. Now I will note that all 4 Professor Juniper are down for Gabe. So he might have a little bit of trouble drawing out of this N here. Never mind. I take back everything I have ever said.
Got exactly what you need in the Stadium card. Just like that. N is a lie. Yep. And there's the game.
It reminds me in 2012 at Nationals, I got N to 1 and I drew a Pont and I said, oh, that's pretty good. And then I drew for turn and I drew a Juniper and I said, that's even
that's
better.
Even
we'll
better.
play that.
Well, we will move into game 3. This is the most hype. This is the pinnacle. This is, you know, Lee is being pushed to the limits to defend his crown, going up against Gabe here with the Primal Groudon deck. So we're going into game 3. Incredibly hype. Let's get some hype in chat. Let's get some Volcanions not in 2015 in chat. Let's go, people. Here it is, the final game of Riley's Retro number 7.
And let's see here. Maybe Lee will finally find that elusive Lysander to potentially work around the active Wobbuffet. Both
no
players
hype,
taking
no
a mulligan,
though. Was Donphan in the tournament?
No.
Yes, we had 2 Donphan in top 8 and 1 Donphan in top 4. So yes, we did have 2 Donphan in the tournament. Wow, this is so unfortunate though. Having to start this Groudon, we might have to see a repeat of last game where you attach the Float Stone just to get into that Wobbuffet. Okay, tell me, Gabriel. What? Oh, God.
We were given a ton of flack, but you know it did work out for Gabe. The Karina top deck is pretty helpful, but the problem is you're giving Lee an entire turn to just blow through as many cards as they want and try to get as many energy in play as they possibly can.
Right. I mean, and something to think about too is without getting that Wob in the active, you leave something like the Shaman as an option. So even if Lee, you know, obviously Lee wants to go through and get as much as they can, but nothing attached and a muscle band and some trainer cards, that is not an Archie's.
Not what you want to see. Must have just not found anything off the acro bike. I mean, taking the floatstone off the trainer's mail is kind of suspect when you don't have any other Pokemon down. But really, just kind of astonishing. You know, you play that many trainer cards and you don't find anything off of any of them.
Right, and you know now you're in this position where you can go. I mean, you can't get into the Wobbuffet here. There's no way to move this Groudon onto the active, but Finney, why? Why are you announcing that? My God. Yeah, so you're still another turn where you're not getting the Wobbuffet access, but you do at least get some of these tools down. You can Primal Revert on the bench, keep that Focus Sash, valuable and active.
Right.
But yeah, this is not what you want to see in game 3 of the finals if you're Lee. And I think actually this was the first turn of the game technically for Gabe, so not able to evolve, but just an attached pass.
No.
And now the Via Seeker top deck gets the Karina.
Right, so you grab the Karina, and I honestly think here, doing nothing. Get Karina, use your item card to grab maybe a Professor's Letter, and start loading up this Groudon.
Right, and you see the Landorus being grabbed just so you can discard it with this Ultra Ball. It is, a dead card in the deck completely, so you can thin it out with that Ultra Ball. But this is so unfortunate, and I mean, if Lee's run as champion is going to end, it would be so sad to see it end to just horrific draws like this, especially with no Wobbuffet being in the active for those 2 turns. But now you can just throw it up with this escape rope. Yeah, and now it's slipping away.
Comes Primal Reversion, and we will see a KO with the Secret Sword. I don't know if I like the Wobbuffet play here, actually, the more and more I think about this, because you're going to have to end them on the following turn. So I almost wonder if the Professor's Letter isn't just the better move.
I was thinking the same thing. I was actually going to bring that up, because now you're an energy behind on the attachment, and now you just don't end, you just evolve the active, but now you're going to let this Groudon potentially get 2 shots, so this is kind of risky. I think I agree with what you were saying about just grab a Professor's Letter, guarantee that you have a Groudon that much closer to attacking, because now you're still 2 turn. I mean, I guess you could get into a Mega Turbo here, but you're kind of forced to go attach Mega Turbo switch on the following turn. Like, that's just very awkward.
Right. Q2 hits the bench, maybe just to start powering that up. Lee doesn't have a very strong hand, but he certainly does have enough to keep the game interesting, having probably loads of energy in there. I guess we'll see if one comes down on the Mewtwo, but seeing a lot of cards and to still have nothing to really be able to play, I'm gonna guess his hand is just clogged with too many energy cards, maybe superior energy retrievals, just things that you want to see late game but not now.
And the deck is just full of so many live cards, or there are so many good top decks you could draw, but now you're forced to end, and this is the problem. And it just shows you how strong of a card. Like, I can't believe that we just saw manual attachments to this Keldeo and putting out this much pressure with it, but Keldeo's a really strong attacker.
It's actually a good thing there's this hard charm on that active Groudon there, because that just negates the effect of Muscle Band. Now, we do see the switch into the Wobbuffet, so even though Lee has a new hand to work with, he's not going to be able to do anything from the get-go, but he is going to be able to go down to 4 prizes, which, if you remember earlier, I was talking about how important it is for these decks to stay on even prize counts, because they want to just try to close out the game with as few KOs as possible.
Well, and the crucial difference here as well is that the 2-shot is already lined up on the other Groudon, so you need to go, obviously, you're going to have to 2-shot the Groudon with the Focus Sash regardless, because of that Sash, it will prevent a 1-hit KO, but you can now just win the game with 3 more attacks, really. You just go, KO the Groudon on the bench at some point, and then just 2-shot this one in the active, so, I do not think you should bench that Groudon.
I do not think that is what needs to be on the board.
Wow, okay. I mean, I guess the thinking being that maybe you can evolve it and kind of ignore this one on the bench with that much damage, but that is very, very risky.
And if nothing, I don't know, because so you have to.
Oh, we don't even get the KO.
Yeah, there's no stadium.
Wow.
We're just gonna see the Focus Sash get broken here by the Keldeo. And this hand for Gabe is just so bad. You have teammates, but until something gets knocked out, you're not doing anything, and you have no way of healing this other Primal Groudon, so you're going to have to take another turn to get a third Primal Groudon into play. It's giving the Blastoise player too much time to pull everything together.
Yeah, and it's absolutely giving too much time, and like, I mean, even without a Blastoise in play, just being able to put out so much pressure with Gabe whiffing some of these key pieces has been huge. And there's a Juniper, so still no Blastoise, no Archie being played there, but I mean, you're still getting your board developed, you're drawing through your deck if you are Lee, so you're finding, you know, more of these cards, these live cards that can get to an Archie in the next turn. But a crucial thing here is, like, I'm almost wondering if do you ever hard retreat this active Groudon and let a Robosub get KO'd, because then you can use teammates after that.
So then you go down to 2 prizes.
No, I'm saying if you hard retreat the active, but then you have to find the without having the Mega
I see what you're saying.
for the Primal. Yeah, and this could be what we see here.
Maybe. I mean, maybe, but there again, you're just opening up more time to potentially pull up this other Groudon on the bench that hasn't been reverted or reversioned, or whatever the verb
the past tense of the past tense thing, yeah. But Gaia Volcano for not a KO feels horrendous. Like, hitting this for 120, that ain't it either.
Right.
I mean, at least if we hard retreat, we could Mega Turbo potentially on the following turn, and you activate the teammates. And it has to be a Lysander this turn, so... And a Lysander wouldn't even... Like, it sets up a 2-shot on the Groudon EX that hasn't been reverted, but without the Archie being played, it's not in any immediate danger, so... I don't know. It's a hard decision there. Gabe chooses to go with the attack, but that's a tough choice.
I mean, on the bright side, Lee's not doing anything, so... Maybe he's thinking, well, if Lee's not doing anything, I can potentially go in with Baby Groudon. Has a strong energy on it. I can use that Rip Claw attack that does 30. Gonna hit for 50 with the strong. So that's enough to take out both the Mewtwo and this Keldeo. So maybe that's your game plan? Really can't think of anything else. And then, well, that's in the active. Do you just try to power up the bench Primal as a backup? I just don't really see how any of this works out all that well.
The problem is that this hand is so poor. Like, if you had an N in this hand to follow this up with, so, you know, this Groudon goes down, and then you can go, like, End 2 into the Mewtwo KO, that would feel a lot better. But I think because you have to play the teammates to get going on this following turn, I think that's the biggest problem.
Right.
You know, you can go attach to that Groudon, the unevolved Groudon, use that Rip Claw play, as you mentioned, and then teammates for something like an N and a Mega Turbo or something to try to charge up the benched Primal Groudon. But, I mean, at any point, Lee can just pop off with this Archie, get a Blastoise into play. There's no Wobbuffet in anywhere on the horizon, and there's another Juniper, so I mean, Lee just continuing to push through the deck regardless of no Blastoise.
Right. I mean, he's gonna get it eventually. It's just a matter of time.
But at this point, I mean, he's got the 2 attackers really set up. Like, there's the Keldeo, the Juniper top deck is pretty good, but I mean, you still want to use this teammates to guarantee maybe an N and a Mega Turbo or something like that. Mega Turbo is in there, and the Primal makes sense as well, but I mean, are we going to sit here and take the turn to attach Primal and then just hide behind the Robosubs instead of taking the KO? I guess that's the choice.
Yeah. I mean,
so this makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best play you can hope for at this point.
Thanks, Gabby. Thank you for bringing those back. I needed those. Appreciate it.
You know, just the fact that Lee does not have the Blastoise down. If you can pull an N off to get Lee down to 2 cards with no Blastoise in play, I think that's what you're really hoping for. And I think the play, like I was kind of imagining in my head, was Lee just literally had nothing in that hand, and I don't know if he was bluffing by just holding the Juniper and saying this is enough, or if he top decked it or drew it out of the prizes or what. But you know, it's very, very stale, very still hands from Lee.
Unfortunately, bring me, yeah, they do bring me a lot of joy. Thank you. Yeah, and this has been really high level gameplay we're seeing here. I think very fortunate to see, even with these decks kind of imploding on themselves and not performing the way that they would want to be played. still playing to your outs and maximizing your potential there. And I want to revisit this Groudon play because the more I think about it, the more this particular line makes the most sense. I think what Gabe is betting on is being able to go attach Mega Turbo and end to 2, and then you get 2 knockouts. I mean, I think, is it a hard charm on the one on the bench? I think it might be a hard charm.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You should ideally be able to take at least 4 prizes, ideally. I mean, otherwise you just lose the game if you don't. So take 4 prizes with that one Groudon, maybe try to slowly charge up another one on the bench. I don't even know how many energy is left. And you're just kind of hoping that Lee never sees an Archie.
I think this Groudon, this Primal Groudon on the bench, the undamaged one, is the last hope for Gabe at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe there are enough energy in deck to power up. Would this be the 4th Primal Groudon at this point because he retreated the 1? So I think that this is just the last ditch effort. End to 2 has got to stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see the Archie
and
right here.
And there's the Archie. Oof, and that is not what Gabe wanted to see. Gabby, no, Tropical Beach was not legal at this time, so there is no beach in this deck, but you do play plenty of other stadiums to activate that Gaia Volcano. Cal popping in with the I got bodied in top 8. I heard you didn't get a Fanpy down. Was that what happened, Cal?
So how many superiors are we down here? Because I'm thinking it's going to come down to a 2-hit KO on this Primal Groudon.
I think I've seen at least 2 potentially.
Okay. There's
the Mega Turbo. We have the attach and the end. So this is Gabe's play. This is the line. This is what we need to make it work.
Preferably Blastoise never hits the board, but
here's a card we hadn't talked about. Nice. Yeah, that Center Lady is really big because with that hard charm as well, ideally for Gabe, Lee has nothing in this hand and just hits with Keldeo for 90 damage after the hard charm. So there is a chance, however slim.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's always a chance. Where there's an N, there's a way.
I'm finding a VS Seeker here.
Oh no, Amelia, yes, that's what I'm saying. Tropical Beach wasn't in 2015. I know I'm gonna regret this.
You scared me for a minute. I was like, wait, what did I just miss?
No. Oh, I didn't even see there's the muscle band there on the Keldeo and a Deluge already, plus the VS Seeker. Oof. So that N is not sticking around. Oh boy.
Pretty strong draws off of that, which I guess
double
is to be
VS
expected
Seeker.
Because 2 VS Seekers off of N. Oh my goodness. I guess Lee really didn't play that many live cards down early game. We didn't see that many compressors. We saw all his acro bikes, but that was about it.
Thank you so much for the cheer, Trainer Red. I really appreciate that. That's so generous of you. Thank you. And I'm glad that you find my stream instructive as well, especially from a VGC side, since obviously this is not really your element. To see you in here so often when I'm playing TCG or showing that is it means a lot to me. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. GG's. Oh my god, do we have the one shot here again? Now that we have the muscle band.
No way, do we? Oh my gosh.
Wow, another superior. That has to be it. There's at least the 4 energy in hand plus a superior, and there are no cards left in deck. That's 6 more energy. That's 10 plus the muscle band. I think so. That's 250, 270. That's 250 after the hard charm. I think that's it.
Yeah. Math that
counting is hard.
Eloquently got wrong in the first game.
There's the 10. Oh, this is definitely a KO. Wow, and once again, the Secret Sword to one-shot a Primal Groudon. That is absolutely absurd. I'm kind of speechless.
Well, it hurts me to see my mascot lose. I know Aaron's a big fan of Rain Dance, so got to give it to him.
What an incredible series. That was absolutely phenomenal. Hats off to both players.